Many of us think about our teachers when we learn after school days and college days. So today, let's take a look at how teachers are programmed to take classes. I'm speaking about schools and colleges. I'm shooting today outdoors, so if you get to hear some sounds, I hope you'll bear with me. I'm very sure that you can hear me. It is audible. Only thing is, in between you may get to hear some sounds. If you focus on my voice and the content, it will not be a problem at all. Now coming to today's topic, there are many people who speak about their English teachers. So this channel focuses on learning English. Learning is different from studying, and we know that we treat this language as a subject during our school days, except for a few other curriculums. Now my point is, you need to take a note of all these problems that are prevalent even today. The first point, when it comes to language learning, many schools claim that we focus on reading, listening, speaking and writing skills. Being a language trainer, being an English trainer for a very long time, I know that I have taken classes for college students and also school students. I have trained teachers also. The first thing that I would like to tell you is very few schools, countable schools, pay attention to all the four parts of language learning. They claim that they're doing it, but you need to know that all these four aspects are very important when it comes to language learning. We are taught to write pages of essays, we are taught to write so many pages, but speaking is very less. Only people who volunteer, students who really love to speak in front of a crowd will come forward. The others stay shy. And we don't have many interactive classes. You all know that we have got 30 to 40 students in a class, so it's not about giving personal attention, but seldom students get a chance to speak, though we have reading sessions. Now speaking about reading classes. See, many schools conduct English classes, I mean the subject English, similar to reading classes. They try to make it the same. See, reading is applicable to all the subjects. How to read a question in math, how to read a question in chemistry and answer. Right? Because the connecting point is English. All the textbooks are in English. So I'm speaking about the reading classes. It's something that can be applied to life itself. And it's not particular only to the language, whether it's Hindi, English or whatever you're trying to work on. So reading classes becomes a contribution of all the other subject teachers. And that's very important. Because I have heard the other subject teachers often saying that, oh, what's there to study in English? It's okay, I'll take classes today. Or let's not pay much attention. Every subject is important. And you should know that we are treating all the languages as subjects, which is not a very good approach. But because of the restrictions and the limitations of the structure of different curriculum, whether it's CBSE, ICSE or any national or international board or even state syllabi, we are forced to stick to the structure. The next point, I haven't seen many English teachers preparing well before entering a classroom. It's not about producing lesson plans and giving all the activities on the paper or the document. Today, things are done online. We share our lesson plans online, as teachers say. But I have seen many teachers, not only English teachers, I have seen many teachers not preparing well before entering a class, which is really not good. See, we know that we are dealing with the same book sometimes. Every year you have the same set of chapters if you are not promoted or if you don't change the classes, if you are not shifted to other grades. Because the learners sitting in front of you are not same. These are all practical steps that lead, that contribute to children developing towards learning a language. So, planning before entering the class is very important. This is for all people who are preparing not only as teachers to become teachers, but also parents who sometimes sit with their children. How to actually conduct this session. How to make this particular portion easier for the child is very important. The next one is, I already spoke about interaction. We have very less possibilities and options to interact with children, every child in the classroom. So I think English teachers should be more concerned when it comes to making children speak, giving a chance for them to speak, because when it comes to English, many people are scared to speak in English, thinking that it's such a very big task. So if you give the children a chance to speak in English, irrespective of the medium of instruction in the school, in between you can ask the children to speak 2-3 lines so that they get rid of the fear, because this fear grows with you. So as a child, if there are seeds of fear instilled in you, then you grow with that fear until and unless you develop and take little bit of effort to come out of that shell, to break the shell. It's not late. It's never too late to break out of that shell and just conquer the language and master the language more than conquering it. The next point is the importance that we give to the language. Sometimes it's too extreme from the parents' side, from the teacher's side, pressurizing the children to have an accent, to be like this, to speak only like a particular person. I've seen many founders and correspondents of school also forcing children to follow a particular accent. We don't have to pressurize on accent. Pronunciation and other factors are very important. Allow the person to come out with the thought process, sequence the thoughts. So as I always tell you, communication skill is a combination of many things: language, style, the way you put your thoughts, the coordination of the thoughts, and the language that you're trying to use. Some people are not good with communication skills even when it comes to the mother tongue. The next point is writing essays. Many people are good with writing. You can produce pages of essays when it comes to the English language, Hindi, Arabic, Sanskrit, whatever you're trying to be a master of. But when it comes to speaking, you face a lot of problem. It's quite natural. Okay, and if the person sitting in front of you is proficient in the language, you will start trembling and you will have that anxiety even if you don't tremble physically, if you don't show it out. Right? So if all these problems are slowly solved from the childhood, it becomes easier. Otherwise, also try to understand these factors that contribute to anxiety and fear of language. It always grows. So anybody is capable of producing pages, but when it comes to speaking, that's when the problem comes out. It starts showing. It's like a small person who is hiding within you, fear. And when it's time, it comes out. It pops up and says, hey, I'm here. Ignore it. Okay? Then coming to English teachers, it's more about the pronunciation, accent. And I've seen a few teachers trying to be very stern and strict and rigid when it comes to English classes. You don't have to be. I think language teachers, not just English teachers. When I say English teacher, I'm referring to people dealing with the subject from the beginning of the video, okay? Teachers who handle this language, teachers who handle languages should be more approachable and accessible, because language is part of life. You cannot do away with it. You need to communicate, whether it is verbal, non-verbal. You have a style of language. Just like how you have the other subjects, you cannot live without math. You cannot live without knowing the other parts of the learnings, the studies that you're doing. Everything is important. Some people say history is not important. You need to know a little bit of your roots. I've heard about many learners telling me, and also other teachers, they share with me that English teachers play a very important role in their life when it comes to criticism and also encouragement. I feel constructive criticism is very important. Don't instill fear in the child. Teach the child to read, how to have a relationship with the words, how to develop the spellings, because a lot of things are advertised when it comes to schooling, but nothing happens. And always remember, active learning methods are important when it comes to learning a language. Okay, you need to speak, read, write, and also to an extent listen. This part is very important. Sometimes children are not stopped. Sometimes children are not even encouraged to listen. Listening is very, very important. I've seen parents not regulating and speaking to children when they're too anxious to speak. You would have seen that children are very anxious to express their thoughts. And when people are having a conversation, and I would say when they have a very important conversation, some children are too anxious to interfere and get in between. Not only children, even adults. I think we need to regulate that and make them understand that when people are speaking, you need to listen. And after they finish, you have to speak. Okay? It's not part of discouragement. It's not part of discouraging the child. Many people feel that, oh, am I discouraging the child when I ask the child to be quiet when two people are conversing? No, it's not like that. They should know when to speak, when to stop, okay, and also to listen. Because today we can see people don't have the time to listen. Even when it comes to videos, you're more interested in skipping the videos, but you call yourself a passionate learner. When you know that there is content, when you know that this is going to help you, listening skills, reading skills, these are part of receiving something. And then you produce, that is, you speak and write. This is the output. First comes the input, and then you have the output. This should happen parallelly, and that's when language becomes fruitful. And as I always tell you, it is a huge ocean. None can fathom language very easily. Okay, so all these skills are important when it comes to the language teacher, the role that a language teacher plays in the life of a child. The last point is, I've already mentioned that in the beginning, the other teachers, the other subject teachers, their attitude. Children may take languages very seriously, in the sense they are not going to be scared, but they may want to learn and revise their portions. I have seen other subject teachers, specifically other language teachers, saying, what's there to study in English? What's there to learn? It's just, you just have to write something. See, there are a lot of formats and patterns that you have to revise. You cannot sit and study before a language exam, that's true. Because it comes with the flow, you have to be preparing and working on it for some time. Just like how you practice math and other things. Consistency is important. But what's there to study? There is something. There are things to be remembered, because when it comes to literature, essays and all, you need to remember certain points. It's good to always recollect phrases or words that you need to use, because the time allotted to complete a paper could be just 2 hours or 20 minutes or even half an hour. So you need to finish everything within the stipulated time. You could be asked to write 3 essays within 30 minutes. So when it comes to competitive examinations, there is a lot that you have to learn, even when it comes to school examinations. Don't take anything so lightly. Nothing is a piece of cakewalk. Take it seriously without fear and anxiety. I hope everything is clear, and I hope that you will take everything with the right tinge and pinch of seriousness. Do not get very anxious and pressurize yourself, but at the same time, there are a lot of professionals who tell me during training sessions, I'm an engineer, I'm a doctor, I'm from this particular challenging field, but I never gave importance to language. When you look at all the professional colleges, English is not taken well, it's not taught properly. You cannot teach English, but no space is given for the students to learn and work on it. Okay, so giving importance to language and communication is important. It's not about just showcasing yourself and saying that I know the language. It's more about how you communicate. It's a very big process. And remember, nothing is never too late. And if you have any queries or suggestions or feedback, do not forget to write to me regarding my training sessions. Only constructive emails will be taken care of, will be looked into, and definitely we will work on that. And it's really a pleasure to read most of your emails, and there's a bond that keeps connecting, that keeps developing over time. Thank you so much.